well, you know, how to put that.
Well, like you were saying in the very beginning, you know, the infinite is already infinite, has always been infinite. Unboundedness is always, but it's a matter of how much we can appreciate it. And you don't necessarily go from A to Z in one second.
That's right.
It's a progressive growth. And there's always more to appreciate.
Yes. Let's take a few more questions so I don't get a million questions. Why didn't you answer my question?
Okay.
All right.
I think we may have answered this one. What is this illusion that everyone talks about?
Yeah, let's leave that one alone. Yeah.
And I think maybe the next one, describe what it means to be awake to pure consciousness. I think you've already done that.
We've done that, yeah.
Okay, well, let's touch on this one just a little bit more. Okay. Why do you always talk of subtle layers? Are they not just another form of illusion?
Yes. And they are another form of illusion if that's all you're experiencing.
Yeah.
In other words,
if you're hung up in them.
If you're hung up in a celestial or some angel or God or something, and all you have is that experience, or you have some psychic power, or you whatever, and that's what you have. Pure consciousness is not there, but this wonderful or not so wonderful experience is there. If you're lost in that experience to the exclusion of pure consciousness, yes, that would be the same as being running around the relative and not knowing not having that experience of pure consciousness. Same thing on the subtle level.
And it seems that by the same token you can get lost in the absolute. And there's a phrase in the Upanishads which says, "Into blinding darkness go those who worship." How does it go? Into blinding darkness go those who worship the relative. Into even greater darkness go those who worship the absolute. It uses slightly different terms, but it's almost like if you become sort of a fundamentalist of the absolute, dismissing all the relative implications and levels of experience, that is just as incomplete as what people ordinarily do, being hung up in the relative and unaware of the absolute. If I'm interpreting that verse correctly.
And everybody has to realize he said that, not me. No, but you have to give full glory to the absolute, right? Because that's the fundamental experience of wakefulness. It's 24 hours a day, pure consciousness. Okay, I'll just go through this one more time. And I do agree with you in principle, but I would never put down the absolute because that's where my experience started. And still there. That has never changed. Pure unbounded consciousness is a field that starts small. It's little, it may
flavors of it.
It's a flavors, taste. Maybe a kid kind of knows it but doesn't understand it, so that it doesn't mean much. And then perhaps you have pure consciousness at night sometime, and you wake up in the morning and you say, what was that? I had all this stuff. But it's dark, it's small, it's here, intermittent, and over time, let's say it becomes permanent. By the time it becomes permanent, it's substantial. You're walking down the street, what is this pure, what is this thing? And then it gets clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. I don't believe that clarity ever stops, because there's almost an infinite distance to go to the infinite. Now, at some point you realize that you are that unbounded field of consciousness. And at another point you realize not only are you that unbounded field of consciousness, you're also its fluctuations, you're its second phase, its movement phase. And at some point you realize not only are you on the subtle level of understanding and experience, that movement of consciousness, even the relative, your daily life, is part of the story of that consciousness. And at that point you start thinking, well, there's some kind of wholeness here, some kind of knowingness that includes everything. So yes, pure consciousness is fundamental, but in my opinion, in my experience, so is the subtle relative, so is the gross relative. The illusion, the gross relative is kind of an illusion if you don't have pure consciousness. And if you don't see the connecting links between the subtlest to the grossest. The connecting links is the experiencer. there's so much talk about, well, there's no experiences, there's no I, there's nobody having the experience. Well, then go ahead and, you know, die if you like, because that's what you're describing. But you're not describing that. You're describing an experience. Somebody's having it. Now, the somebody that's having that experience of the absolute is very, very, very subtle. Very subtle. It's so subtle that it's not recognized as an I. That's how I look at it. And then ultimately it will be.